Well, okay, the first step is to scrape off this old gold leaf sign. And here we go. It's kind of bittersweet to take off an old gold sign. Bitter because someone really put a few days of work into this kind of generic old gold sign, but sweet because what we're gonna do is gonna be really pretty. This is what our old sign looks like, all scraped off. Genuine gold leaf. Probably 25 cents worth of gold in that pile. So here I'm just going over it and over it and over it repeatedly with a kind of a milky little paste of Bon Ami and water, just to really try to get every last bit of any foreign matter. I feel like you really can't ever get it clean enough. You know, it's never really perfect, but it's a lot more cleaning than you do with, you know, Windex and a rag or a squeegee. This is actually microscopically abrading the glass. It doesn't cloud the glass or anything. It's still shiny and beautiful and clear, but you really have to get every last bit of anything off the glass, anything that might be on there, any impurities, paint, dirt. I haven't seen it in quite a few, well, in decades really, but it used to be, you start a gold sign, you'd be cleaning like this, and the rag would get dirty and get dirty and get dirty over and over, and it was from cigarette smoke, especially in like bars or barber shops, places where old people would smoke cigars and things like that. Yeah, it was a real pain in the butt to get off. But what we're doing is just getting it guaranteed clean. Guaranteed perfectly clean. Can't emphasize it enough. Okay, now we're gonna clean off the Bon Ami, which you can't really see in the video, but trust me, there's a kind of a white haze of the dried Bon Ami. I've let about an hour and a half, 2 hours go by since I did the scrubbing, and it's just simply a matter of just wiping it off. And I'm sure you can't see it in the video because it's kind of white on white, but the nice soft cotton definitely, can you see that? It's definitely picking up a little residual dirt. So we have some very, very clean glass now. I've got my size tin here, full of water size or gelatin size. Refer to LeBlanc for that on how to make it. It's water with gelatin in it. And this is a very wet process, so I have a old bath towel all lined up along the bottom, because where this location is, it's not really a good idea to dump a bunch of water down by their front door. So, first, open the book of gold to the first leaf. This is 24 karat, so it's pure gold. You get all different carat weights. So I've got my gold ready on the book. Fortunately, this is a very wind-free. There's no little buffets of air conditioner or any of that kind of stuff going on here, so it's really nice. A very quiet environment. It's kind of a vestibule of the building here. So I just gonna put my water size on the area, And you're gonna think I'm wasting gold, but it's really the only way to do it. Thorn tip. Catch it on the corner. And boom. One down, probably 30 or 40 to go. All right, I'm working my way over here, working right to left, because when I come in with my right hand, I can keep the size that I'm working into pure without any grease or anything like that, because there's grease on, there's hair oil on the tip. Oh, by the way, I've switched to the traditional style tip because this happens to be a convex window, and the thorn style tip doesn't seem to work quite as well as just the good old-fashioned squirrel hair or whatever it is, gilder's tip. Just a couple spots there. So I'm going to make sure this stays good and wet. Since I'm working blind, there's a decal on the outside until the sign gets done. I'm really making doubly sure that I keep a nice wet flow of size on the glass. Just using half leaves now, that's one of the easiest sizes of leaf to use is a half. And cutting it with my fingernail, it's hard to see, maybe I'll do a demo of that later, but fold the rouged paper back and just use it as a straight edge for your fingernail. It works great. And again, I'm not getting any of the tip into my water, the water size. It'll crawl away and you'll have a little holiday, a little clear spot in the glass. We don't want that. We want gold. Everywhere where we want the gold to be, we want gold. And bearing in mind, this is the first gild, the first layer of gold, and then after this starts to dry, we'll be doing the same process again to make sure that we cover any little cracks. It also seems to even out the gelatin in the actual size, and you don't get so many like little cloudy spots in the gild. So there's an A. And I'm gonna, once again, keep this nice and flowing wet. You can't see the water in the video, but believe me, there's water size on there. This is the most recently applied gold, and you won't see any mirror type of reflections on this. It's still very matte because it's wet. You see a tiny little piece of a kind of a mirror finish right there as I shift back and forth. I'm not sure the video will pick it up. Not sure. But as I go over to where I started earlier, definitely much more of a like a mirror finish there, and some of that, like the cracked area. See the reflection of my hand. Hello. And in the very beginning, it's almost, well, maybe 2/3 of it is developing that burnished look or that mirror look. See, there's a good example right there where it's kind of drying in the middle of that little area. There's a pretty good sized area there. You can see the reflections. And that just means that it's drying in, and then after it dries really well, we will buff it off with cotton and then hit it again with a second gild. Okay, our first gild is nice and dry. I don't know if you can pick up on the, I'm going to move the camera a little bit here so you can see. Can you pick up on the mirror finish on that gold? Yeah, maybe not. Anyway, our first gild is nice and dry, and it's looking like a mirror across the whole thing, except for all the gold that's kind of loose on there. So, taking a nice fluffy side out wad of the kind of cotton that comes on a roll, a sterile roll in a box, and I'm just going to gently, very gently, just tease off all that excess kind of loose gold that didn't get adhered with the size. And I kind of go in maybe a little random pattern, a little bit circular, but kind of like if there's a crease, I try to kind of follow that crease, and rather than opening up the gold where it's overlapping another piece. And normally I would do this with a little hand vac in the other hand, but that wouldn't make a very good video with that noise going on. But there's some gold skewings laying around here, and those will get picked up. It really doesn't have any value. You'd have to spend a lifetime of picking up those skewings to have any dollar value on the gold. It's so thin, it doesn't have a lot of value. Looks pretty though. I can see myself in the reflection. I can see my reflection in the gold. So it looks pretty good. Kind of convenient that there's a big door closer mechanism here. We're right over the two front doors, and makes a nice shelf to put my water size on. There's all kinds of space to hold my can of water size. All right, so I've got my gold in the traditional configuration there. The book of gold sitting on top of the tip. I've modified my tip and made a kind of wider cardboard so that it supports the entire book. You don't have to do that. That's how I like to do it. Anyway, getting the half leaf of gold ready, and here we go for our second gill. Just gonna wash over the whole thing. I'm not seeing any areas that are crawling away, like there's no sign that there's any little globs of grease, which is good. It means I didn't touch the surface with my tip, which can, create a little area of clear glass, and it's hard to fix that. All right, put our first one on. Okay, now I'm going to be placing a pounce pattern up on the inside of the glass here. I have some notches cut in the top and bottom of the paper in the hope that I can get this paper to comply with the concave shape of this window. So wish me luck. I got the paper pattern up pretty good, and with this it's relatively dark interior, so I'm opting for white pounce powder. I'll start in the middle and work out. This is the process called backing up, and what I'm doing here is lettering with a trimmed quill. Got it's a number 4, I believe. Yeah, it's a 4, and I've trimmed it down right at the ferrule to make it almost like a striping brush for this particular use. And I'm going very slowly. You lettering artists may look at this and think, wow, that guy is slow. But I have my backup paint just at about the outer limits of thickness because I want it kind of gummy gooey on here because I want a very thick application, almost ridiculously thick, because once this dries it has to hold up to the rubbing of the other gold that we're getting rid of. So it's just time-consuming process. Can't really use a maul stick here because this where this transom is, there's a big door closer hardware, big box right below the window, and that's right where the bottom of my maul stick would want to be. So I'm just kind of resting my arm wherever I can find a place. Just gotta adapt, make it work. There's a little screw up on the bottom of my O there, but I can trim that with a razor. I'm not worried about it. Sometimes there'll be a little area you're not completely happy with that's in a tight spot. So I have a piece of razor blade that I've chipped. LeBlanc talks about doing this, and you can get in there into a small, very delicate process, but it can be done. Get into a little small area where you might have gotten too much black backup paint on the gold and trim it away. All right, now we're going to work on the matte centers, which are these areas. And what I have here in my little cup is some quick size. I believe it's designated as being ready for gilding in 1 to 3 hours. And since we're doing the highlight of this prism letter, or beveled, I'm going to just letter in or paint in this clear quick size in these highlight areas, not this which is aside. We'll get a different gold. What I'm planning to use here in this area is palladium leaf, which is, just as it sounds, made from palladium. Kind of a fancy stuff, doesn't tarnish. And I have a clean brush, virginally clean, because there's nothing that looks worse than little hairs or fibers trapped in a matte center. Now, I've done one letter. I'm going to pause a little bit to take my time, because when it's time to put the gold on, that'll take me a little time. And I just pause here and kind of estimate and go by feel, intuition, how long it's going to take me to apply a piece of leaf there, piece of leaf there, and a piece of leaf there. If you really got your size accelerated, it matters a lot more. With slow size, like the 12-hour size, you have a much wider window when the gold can be applied, or the leaf. In this case, it won't be gold, it'll be palladium. But I like to just keep them all the same. So, again, going with the highlight here. You might see me overdoing it, overstroking it, overbrushing it. But that's because I'm working in clear, and it's really, really, really easy to miss. This is another process that shouldn't be rushed. Just taking my time getting all this drop shadow painted. I'm using a kind of a narrow brush because some of the parts of this are in kind of little skinny areas, not this one. And rather than just keep switching brushes back and forth, I'm just continuing using the small. This is a number, yeah, it's a number 2. I probably could have gotten away with a 4, but I don't have it in my kit right now. But this is okay. A lot of control with a narrower brush too. No hurry. Again, normally I would just use all down strokes on a, classic kind of brush, maul stick technique, but I really obstructed here below the sign with a big piece of hardware, door closer. It's coming out okay. All right, the final step is clear varnish that covers everything plus a little 1/16 to 1/8 inch bit of clear varnish. I'm using Gilder's spar varnish. I've been known to use a really good quality marine varnish called Epiphanes. Don't tell anybody, but in the past I've actually used quick size in a pinch when I didn't have the varnish on hand. I'm using a kind of a wide flat, just a cheap brush. A brush is only as good as the person wielding it, and I have a lot of years of skill here. One thing to be careful of is at the bottom, especially on like a round character like an S, O, etc. Watch out for too much material down here, because what will happen is as this material runs down, it's almost invisible and it goes really slowly, so you don't really notice it. You'll get a drip down there if you have too much material on, especially in that area. This is really just one more layer of protection of the gold. One thing I've found in doing gold windows is if you do this clear backup too soon, it actually, I guess there's a little bit of solvent in the varnish itself, and it actually will pick up some of the black or whatever color, usually traditionally black, and that will kind of cloud your varnish a little bit, and that's kind of unsightly if anyone really looks close. I mean, from across the street it doesn't matter, but just trying to do as nearly perfect a job as you can. Don't want to rush this and get this varnish on there before you're, in this case it's one shot black, before that last coat of color is completely dry. They're looking pretty good. Probably can't even see it in the video, I get that, but trust me, there's a little 1/8 inch clear. Oh, got a little too much material on here. Gotta watch that, it'll drip. It'll sag, come down and drip at the bottom. Just a nuisance. You can scrape it off with a razor, but it's better to do it right in the first place.